impressed were you with Luka toughing through all those injuries to control a pivotal Game 5 from start to finish?
Oh, he was such a grinder.
He sucked it up, man.
He sucked it up. He fought through all those injuries.
All of them.
As soon as I heard them say that as they panned to him and he's taking off his knee brace, I said, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Now, look, I can never question anybody's pain tolerance. Nothing. You can't do it, right? Here's what I would say. You say, what's the scale? It's a 10, okay? It's just a 10. Never mind the injuries, Rachel. I'm just talking about the ability to get a triple-double. Didn't shoot it all that well to me. He hasn't shot it well. He played well.
For him to make 5 threes is pretty big.
Yeah, and so when you look at what he did in terms of triple-double, he didn't play great in the fourth quarter, okay? No. You have to, coming off the game that he had previously, you have to tip your hat to him and be able to say, okay, that's what I've been talking about, Skip. I want to see that. But I don't want to just see it in a Game 5. I need to see it in a Game 6. I need to see it in a Game 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. You know, I need to see it in those games. If you want to talk about all this championship MVP conversation that you have about superstar talented players, I want to see it in those moments. This was a moment because 82% of the time, the team that wins Game 5 goes on to win the series. Fact. To me, that's big time to me. Yeah. Because if he knew that and that registered in his mind and he went out on the floor and he displayed and did the things that he did, although Kyrie didn't have a whole lot of shots and he only scored a minimum amount of points, they still won the game. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about us looking at him in the regular season and saying, oh, my God, he's averages 35 points a game. We've never seen this again. I'm talking about the playoffs. Because that's what we talk about. At least the NBA guys that I speak to, they love the regular season, but it's all about the playoffs for them, just like it is with most people in professional sports. Yeah. So, yeah, he gets a 10 for me. I don't care about the injuries, man. Everybody's hurt. I mean, that's the reality of it. The dude that doesn't even play got something bothering him from practice. Right. That's all I care about is the fact that they won, he played well. You got to tip your hat to him. All right.
Well, if you wanted to see that, you're seeing it. Yeah. This is it. He's doing it.
Let's keep it going.
By the way, I get it, and it is funny once you get to teeth, right? Once you get to teeth, that's an injury report you got to laugh at a little bit. Yeah. However, we make such a big deal these days about how guys in the NBA today aren't playing the way they should. They rest too much. Fans think they're soft, all of that stuff. Here is a guy who is pretty banged up by all accounts and is doing it. You have a guy in Cleveland who is an important starter where the reporting was this morning that his team is frustrated with him because he went 8 games without playing with a bruised rib and wouldn't even take a pain injection.
I kept wondering about Jared Allen. I know, I like, come on, man. Right? He's sitting at the end of the bench. He looked fine. I don't know.
Again, bruised rib, he's missed 8 games. Yes. Luka Doncic has 17 injuries, and he's out there playing and scoring this 30-point triple-double. You can't make fun of it when he's doing it, when he's doing the thing that we're asking for him to do. He's playing exceptional defense. It was a very telling play to me toward the end of this game, 50 seconds or so to go. The Dallas Mavericks are up by 9 points, so the game is, it's pretty much done, right? And Luka Doncic goes hard defending Shai on a layup. And that layup would not have it wouldn't have made such a big difference. I mean, yes, theoretically the Thunder could have turned that into something, but really, if Luka had laid off defensively a little bit in that moment, the Dallas Mavericks still would have won the game, and he didn't. He went hard after that in every moment. This team actually wanted this and went out and took it, and I was super impressed with Dallas last night.
Okay, before I launch on this, I'm going to say I'm still hanging with my Thunder to go back to Dallas just like they just did and win Game 6 and get it back to a Game 7 at Oklahoma City. And surely they can shoot it better in a Game 7 than they shot it in a pivotal Game 5. I still got the Thunder winning this series, but it tore my guts out last night to watch them not show up at home. And yet, there are times when a very young team, and they are still very young, as you keep bringing up, there are times when you're at home with everything in your lap where now you've got it, and the pressure mounts on you to do what is finally expected of you to take control of the series, and you start to do that when you shoot your threes, because I don't know how many wide open threes they missed. it becomes ultimately in these games a three-point shooting contest, and Dallas made 14 and Oklahoma City managed to make 10 when Oklahoma City led the league in three-point percentage this year at 39%. So now I've had to watch them go 4 straight games in which they've shot a combined 29%. That's 10 percentage points below what they did in the regular season when they led the league. Is it playoff pressure? Is it youth? Is it choking your guts out? I don't know. But they're just not doing what they did in the regular season for whatever reason. And finally, it might be the Dallas defense, which is way, way better than it used to be. And I know you and I have gone back and forth, but you got to give them a little credit because they play hard on defense, and he plays hard on defense. He's not the greatest defender because his feet don't move that quickly, but he tries hard, and Kyrie is trying hard.
Just effort.
It's just effort. And I got to tell you, just to my eye test last night, Dallas played harder than Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City, despite that crowd ready just to ignite, and they kept taking them out and taking them out and taking them out of the game because they made shots and they played harder. And hardest playing of all was Luka Doncic because you could just tell he wanted it a little more than anybody in Oklahoma City wanted it. To take nothing away from Shai, he just gets you this quiet sort of 30 every night. You can just count him. You just check the box. He's going to get you 30. Well, somebody, maybe a couple of somebodies, have to go along for the ride where you need a 20 and a 20 from maybe a Josh Giddey, who's now completely doghoused and for the first time in his career did not start last night in favor of Isaiah Joe. It was a gutsy move by Daigneault. I probably wouldn't have done it because they're a unified sort of college rah-rah team, and all of a sudden they didn't have one of their guys in the starting lineup.
And it's not like Isaiah Joe gave him anything.
Well, he made his first three, and I thought, oh, here we go.
Here we go. Big, and then
way to go. But you're right.
Downhill.
He did not. It didn't impact the game. So, in the end, allow me to show you 2 moments where I said, maybe, just maybe. And listen, I gave Chet his props the other day. I'm not going to give him many props today because he did not show up last night. He looked overwhelmed. He looked overmatched. He looked timid. He looked a little weak last night because he managed 4 total rebounds. It won't work.
7 feet tall.
Yeah, I think he's over 7 feet, but whatever. And he's so long, and you get 4 rebounds because they're just outworking you. They're out wanting you. But he did get loose one time, if we could see it. It's with 5:16 left, and he got loose for one big thunder dunk. One big dunk. It kind of came, boom, left-handed. He went left-handed, and the crowd went berserk because finally they just cut it to 7. Right. And guess what happened at the other end of the floor? We'll see one more Chet here, up and under. He did it so quick, I was impressed. The other end, it's my old friend P.J. Washington from the corner, kaboom. And it just took the heart out of the crowd because all of a sudden it's back to double digits. It's back to 10. And then they hung in, as they always do, and they scratched and they clawed. And they got it down to a point where the ball is in Cason Wallace's hands. And he's 20 years old. And he was the 10th overall pick in the draft out of Kentucky. He's a Dallas kid from Richardson High School. I know it well. And he was the Texas State Gatorade Player of the Year. He's a really good young player. He played 28 minutes last night. He played almost the whole 4th quarter last night because they love him. But he's 20 years old. He shot 42% from 3 during the regular season because he can stroke it, man. And in the 4th quarter, they gave him 3 looks, and he went 0 for 3. And he played 10 minutes in the 4th quarter and went 0 for 3. If any one of those 3 fall, you have a whole different conversation because the dynamic starts to change in the game. So here's the shot of the game because this is going to cut it to 6 with 3 minutes left. Cut it to 6. And that's a pretty – they had those all night long, and he missed it badly left. Okay, so that's your last hope because if that goes in, crowd erupts, and it's a 6-point game with 3 minutes left, would you give him a chance? Sure, you'd give him a little bit of a chance because Kyrie went completely quiet in the 4th quarter. He took 1 shot and missed it and scored 0. And I can't – this is a nuclear weapon in Kyrie Irving to me. And I'm just like – I'm hiding my eyes like I said, he's going to go. He's going to go out. I know it. He's going to score 10.
I feel like he has a understanding of the flow of the game.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
But he's accepting it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He has an understanding of the flow of the game that not get in the way certain things that's going on.
So Kyrie Irving is not going to get in the way.
Well, look, I think Jason Kidd is going to get him more touches in the next game.
I thought it was going to be last night.
I expect that. I think last night the focus was on Luka. Here's a guy who the Thunder had been holding way under his normal scoring.
That's true.
Who clearly was not just rattled by the injury issues he's dealing with, but it was telling to me that Jason Kidd sat down and talked to him about complaining to the officials.
He did.
That Kyrie Irving said he sat down with him before this game and talked to him about focusing on the bigger picture. And what do you really love about this game? And that's what we heard from Luka post-game was, I remembered why I love playing this game. I just focused on having fun.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
Let's listen to it real quick, and then you can continue. Here's Luka post-game. The old Luka with the smile on his face.
But prior to them sitting down with him, Rachel, they had done this in the past, though, already, before. They had already told him, they need to remind him again, just play basketball, man. Like I said yesterday, just play basketball.
He has a lot on his shoulders, and it doesn't surprise me if this is a habit of his, that it takes repeated times to talk to him and remind him. But there was a bunch of little tweaks that Luka made going into this game. He started his pregame warm-up routine earlier than he usually does. Derrick Jones Jr. talked about the fact that he found Luka on the court when he normally warms up, and that just bucket after bucket was going in, and that Luka seeing those shots go in was really important, and that Derrick Jones Jr. was just like, I knew they were in trouble. You have to remember, the Thunder have been the #1 defensive team in the second round of the playoffs. Well, #2 has been Dallas. So it doesn't surprise me that the Mavericks scoring has been depressed. It doesn't surprise me that the Thunder scoring has been depressed from what it is in the regular season. And I thought it was interesting that Dagno talked after the game about the age of the team and what you were saying about this learning experience and all of that. We say that the Thunder are the youngest team in the playoffs. We talk about that all the time, but I think we say it so much, we almost sort of gloss over it. Here's another way of looking at it, that in these playoffs, 2 points have been scored by a Thunder player over 25 years old. Every other point in these playoffs
I'm not even sure who
by
that
this
is.
team.
I've lost.
Right? Every other point in this playoffs by this team has been scored by a guy who's 25 or younger.
Is it like Gordon Hayward or somebody? I don't know.
No, I have it written down here.
Okay, whatever.
But
Don't worry. Don't worry.
But the point is, when I saw that stat, I was only 2 points. That just tells you how young they are. And yes, Luka Doncic is around that same age as Shai is, but he's been playing professional basketball since he was 13 years old. Kyrie Irving is such a savvy veteran, and they've talked about his leadership being super important to them this year. I think that's what we are seeing in this game.
So it is intriguing to me that a player of Luka's stature would accept Jason Kidd, especially Jason Kidd, sitting him down and saying, you've got to stop. You got to curtail.
Why especially Jason Kidd?
Because I think he's hard to deal with. He's hard to coach. I think it was hard for him to accept Kyrie last year, and there was some pouting going on in a lot of fourth quarters when he would just give Kyrie the ball and say, you do it, because that's what they brought you here to do. So it was intriguing to me that he listened. And again, I think it really helped that Kyrie also said, hey, just calm it down a little bit.
But it's also
and he said, he kept saying nothing. I said nothing. He did say a number of things to it, but it just wasn't the relentless every whistle where he was just
up and down the floor either way.
Right.
But like I say about Westbrook or anybody that you have a conversation with, it's all about how the message is
totally
delivered.
Agree. Yeah.
If I'm Rick Carlisle and I'm delivering the message a certain way, then I'm not going to be receptive to that. But if I'm Jason Kidd and I'm sitting down and I understand who he is and I'm talking to him a certain way, and I got Kyrie right here doing the same thing, that message comes across a lot stronger.
I think Luka has tremendous respect for Jason Kidd. I've been around them, and they have an excellent relationship. And taking direction...
And Jason, he played at a high level.
Well, I was going to say, taking direction from a Hall of Famer is not that hard if you're Luka Doncic. And by the way, that's true of Kyrie, too. Right? He knows where Kyrie's headed after his career is over. He knows that he's headed to the Hall of Fame. So I think the idea that these guys at this level are talking to him, he can accept that in a way of a different coach. Maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much. I don't know. Like Rick Carlisle was a pretty good player, but he wasn't any Jason Kidd. But
but it's also it's how you talk to people.
And he's a player's coach.
You got to be able to look at them in the eyes. You can't be frowning at them. And players aren't stupid, Skip. They know when you stabbing them in the back and saying something negative about them or frowning up at them because they got an injury. They know, and it rubs people the wrong way.
Okay.
Kenrick Williams, by the way.
What's that?
Kenrick Williams was your player.
Okay. I forgot he was even on the team. He barely plays. All right. So The difference to me defensively for Dallas last night was they used Derek Lively a lot. He is a rim protector of the literal highest order, and he plays hard with extreme energy. And then Gafford also, he's 6'10", and he can jump and jump with force. So those two position themselves where they were just saying, you can't come in here anymore. So Oklahoma City does all their dribble handoffs and dribble, you know, screen, and they're all trying to drive and get to the rim or get Chet a free lob dunk. And Dallas just kept saying, nope, you can't come in here. And I hadn't seen Dallas just completely shut that off. So what does it require? Well, you get in the lane, and then you got to kick it out, and somebody's going to have a three. Well, the only way to beat that defense is you just have to make some of your threes. If you can make 4 or 5 more, if you can match Dallas's 14 with 4 more threes, then maybe you have a conversation. But it was one of those nights where they're actually choking in front of the home crowd, trying to please the home crowd, live up to the roars, you know, the expectation, because they have not done this before. They have not been in this. This is a first for them, and it did not look pretty, which is why I still believe they have a little better chance in Game 6 Saturday night at Dallas, because some of the pressure will go off, because now the pressure is more on Dallas. Okay, now you got to close it out, right? Okay, so gut feeling. Do you give them much of a shot?
I'm with the Thunder to all the way to 7. So
all right,
whatever that means. Yeah, I think they could go to Dallas and do what they did in Game 4, and kind of play close and then take it in the end. Look, man, they had a shot at home in the end. They just didn't hit those shots.
Yeah,
Game 4, they hit the shots.
But they shouldn't really have won Game 4. You cannot forget the fact that Dallas shot 50% down the stretch from the free throw line.
I understand.
And that is very unusual, even for them. They're not a great free throw shooting team, but if they had made 1, 2 of those shots, then Dallas would have won that game.
We can say the same thing about Game 5, Rachel. If they would have made 1 or 2 of those threes, we'd be having a different conversation.
I think in my opinion, there is a difference between I missed a free throw at the end of the game versus in the flow of the game, I wasn't hitting any threes.
Well, free throws at the end of the game, you know, they tighten. You get real tight. You're standing at that line all by yourself, and all you're doing is looking at a backboard and knowing that you got to make those shots.
Look, you have to come through, and if you don't come through,
and
it's on you.
that's what Chet did in the end. As a young player, he knocked down his 2 free throws.
He did.
He did. I just think that Dallas walked off the court after Game 4 thinking, we snarfed that. And I think that is what you saw when they took the court for Game 5. I think that's why Luka came out early to shoot. I think that all of those things had an effect with veterans who were leading that team.
So you are leaning Dallas?
I started this series by saying Dallas in 7. I absolutely think the Thunder could take Game 6, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas put the clamps down. But yeah, I think in a Game 7, even though it's in Oklahoma City, to your point, sometimes a young team, the pressure of the home crowd, that expectancy can be too much for a young team. So being at home for Game 7 isn't necessarily the advantage it would be for a veteran team. I just think in the end, the Dallas Mavericks have more experience, and at this stage of the playoffs, that counts.
So I keep telling you guys, you, Keyshawn, I look at this box score and I look at these names and I think, look, the Mavericks have the 2 best players on the floor, because as great as Shai was this year, will I take Kyrie? Yeah, I'll still take Kyrie over Shai, and I'll definitely take Luka over Shai. So it depends. What are you going to get from those 2 in a Game 6? Are they going to come out and be Luka, as he says, old Luka? Are we going to get a nuclear explosion from Kyrie, because he is highly capable, as we kept seeing against the Clippers? He had a 40 and he had 2 30s. Well, we haven't seen any of that against these guys. And for him to score no points in the 4th quarter, and I know I was texting with our man Lil Wayne last night. He loves the Thunder, picked them to win the West. And he's saying, I'm afraid of Kyrie in Game 6 because he hasn't done anything yet. Well, so am I. But then Wayne texted back and he said, yeah, but Shai hasn't done that. He's doing quiet 30s, and Shai can give you 42. If he just gets going, he is unstoppable if he gets in a rhythm. I'm sticking with the Thunder. 6 and 7. All right. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.